Hello, I'm Chris Barrow with the BBC News. Turkey's electoral authorities say President Recep Tayyip Erdogan will serve another 5 years after declaring him the winner of the presidential election runoff. With most votes counted, they say he defeated his challenger, Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, who complained the poll was unfair. Addressing supporters, Mr Erdogan promised to build a strong economy and called for unity. Our correspondent in Istanbul, Anna Foster, says it's a significant moment for both Turkey and the world.
This is an election of global importance because if you look at the relationships that Turkey has in the world, key relationships with different countries and different leaders who perhaps don't have those relationships with other countries more widely. Turkey under President Erdogan looks both east and west. That is why it's of such strategic importance, and that is why the result of this election will be crucial really wherever you are in the world.
Russia's President Vladimir Putin has congratulated President Erdogan. Although Mr Erdogan has sent drones to Ukraine, he's not joined sanctions against Moscow over its invasion. Ukraine's leader, Volodymyr Zelensky, also welcomed the results, with President Biden also among the world leaders to send their congratulations. President Biden and the top Republican in the House of Representatives, Kevin McCarthy, have been holding further talks to finalise their deal to end the deadlock on raising the national debt ceiling. Mr Biden spoke to journalists about the deal that's been struck.
I think it's a really important step forward, and it takes the threat of catastrophic default off the table, protects our hard-earned and historic economic recovery, and the agreement also represents a compromise, which means no one got everything they want. But that's the responsibility of governing. And this is a deal that's good news, I believe you'll see, for the American people. The agreement prevents the worst possible crisis, a default, for the first time in our nation's history.
Both Mr Biden and Mr McCarthy will need to convince their own parties in Congress to approve the legislation. Saudi Arabia and the United States say violations of the ceasefire in Sudan have significantly impeded the delivery of urgent humanitarian aid. Here's our Africa editor, Richard Hamilton.
Gunfire rang out again on Sunday in Khartoum, as if to underline the message coming from Washington and Riyadh that this 7-day ceasefire has been persistently violated. They said both warring parties had talked about de-escalation to allow humanitarian assistance, and yet both parties were posturing for further escalation. On the ground, the paramilitary RSF has been ransacking shops, while in the air, the army has been bombing the city.
This is the World News from the BBC. President Volodymyr Zelensky has praised Ukraine's air defence forces after Russia's biggest drone assault on Kiev since its invasion began. Most of the explosive drones were shot down. Mr Zelensky said every time drones and missiles were intercepted, lives were saved. The Chief Minister of Manipur State in northeastern India says 40 militants have been killed in the continuing security operation. The state has been beset by ethnic violence, which erupted at the beginning of the month when tribal groups clashed with ethnic majority Meitei people. At least 60 people have been killed and tens of thousands displaced. Initial results from Sunday's regional and municipal elections in Spain indicate a clear setback for the Socialist Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez. With national elections due later this year, the counting shows the Socialists may be on track to lose several key regions. Guy Hedgecoe reports from Madrid.
With the Conservatives winning in socialist-controlled cities such as Seville and Valencia and tightening their grip on Madrid, where they already governed, this was an overwhelming result. Socialist losses in several regions, including Valencia, the Balearic Islands and Aragon, compounded the sense of a major swing from left to right across the country, and many will see this result as providing clues about the upcoming general election. However, the Popular Party will need the help of the far-right Vox in order to govern in many areas.
Malaysia's Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has told media to stop self-censoring and criticise him without fear. In a speech to mark National Journalists' Day, the reformist leader said the practice of writing in favour of the government should end and opposition views had to be aired. Malaysia has bucked a regional trend of tightening restrictions on journalists, jumping 40 places in the World Press Freedom Rankings this year. That's the latest BBC News.